Tonia here, your host of The Alchemy of Me, where we navigate the anatomy of humanity through the lens of science and spirituality. Let's unearth the layers and unravel the systems in place that dim who we are and how we live and experience life. On this journey together, we'll weave in an eclectic blend of mind, body, energy, medicine, concepts, tools, and practices that'll nourish the seeds, the fire, that gold of intelligence that is you. This is an opportunity, your opportunity to reclaim, to rediscover, to transform, to alchemize you. The Alchemy of Me show starts now. Hello. Tonia here, your host of The Alchemy of Me, where we explore or navigate the anatomy of humanity through the lens of science and spirituality. And I am so excited to have Sean back today with us. Sean was here was it about a month ago, Sean?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So month, 6 weeks, somewhere in there. And we're excited to have a little fun today to play, to invite back some of that maybe childhood curiosity as we kind of navigate life together. And so just to recap on Sean, I'll just give you a little more background on his bio. So Sean is a psycho-spiritual counselor, co-founder of Masculine Mastery, founder of Soul Revival Retreats, host of Follow Your Path podcast, and an entrepreneur. Sean has helped hundreds of clients in taking control of their minds and transmute their internal shadows to life-changing gifts that create an authentic experience of living beyond childhood trauma and survival conditioning. So welcome back, Sean. Is there anything else before we dive in? Is there anything else you want to add to that? What you've been up to since you were last here with me on The Alchemy of Me?
Thank you so much for having me back. I'm so psyched to be here and to drop into this conversation today. That last question you said, I have a challenge answering that at times because I feel like we're in this space right now where each week that goes by, it's like it could be a quantum leap. It could be like major catalytic events happening, major shifts just within yourself. And it's like, what did I do 2 weeks ago? I don't even know. Like everything's just moving so fast, and that's a beautiful thing. And so that's why it's like so pivotal right now to try to be as present as you can because things are moving so fast. Like the last time we spoke, very different version of Sean back then to who is speaking now. And I think that's really cool.
I love that because you said 2 weeks and then I thought, what did I do 2 hours ago?
Yeah.
Because even on that scale, it is wild. Even just in the day. So it's that, like you said, being present, being here right now, being rooted in this space time is super important. So yeah, thank you for that, Sean.
Yeah.
So as we dive in here, if I want to just get into it. So something that we had talked about a little bit as we were kind of going through this, like, what are we going to talk about? There's so many different things. We talk for hours. And so just kind of landing in one spot and what would really be supportive of listeners right here and now. And one of the things, you provided for kind of the description of what we were going to talk about was this idea of letting the old sandcastles wash away, to allow for the tides of a rising consciousness. And I love that visual. For me, it's super powerful because it speaks to the childlike behavior and the playfulness that I feel, and this connects really strongly with me as I like to say I like to have fun, but let's be honest, like and I think all of us are too serious. We play the adult card way too often. So I'm excited to just dive in and talk a little bit about that, about what it looks like to invite in this play from the child perspective in from the transition from 3D to 5D. So I don't know, before we kind of talk about kind of going over a little bit more of what the 3D and 5D is and what that looks like, is there anything you want to add to that, maybe from your own life experience, or really anything that's coming up for you?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. There's so much that I could share with what you just said, but I'll start with, yeah, seriousness is a shadow.
Mm,
It's something that we get locked into through stress, through conditioning, and just, the model that we've inherited as kids, right? Looking at adults and seeing what the world was to them and how our parents acted with things, and how their model of what life was. It's like, oh, stress is normal. Oh, grind hustle culture is normal. Oh, seriousness in adults is normal. Like when we were kids, we all saw it. It's like
mhm.
the these adults just have like these stone faces, and they don't feel great to be around generally. Not
Mhm.
everybody, but most people. And it's because those adults, and you didn't know at the time, of course, but they were disconnected from their inner child, which is that sense of play, that sense of curiosity, that sense of awe and wonder. And we get adulterated as we come up in this society, in this program, and we lose that, and it's such a big piece of who we are. And it's like, look around, so many people are depressed, so many people are like joy. Like people will get pissed if they see you happy. That's how
Yes.
distorted things have become. It's like, how
Yes.
dare you have joy? It's the world is furious, there's crazy shit happening, this people are suffering. And it's you realize it's all a point of attention. And so that's going into the conversation that we're having today with what we mean by 3D, 5D, because I think in spiritual circles that people will look at that in a certain way. And it's like this thing of like, oh, 5D, oh, 3D. And it's like, no, this is the game board. Like
Mhm.
if you look at life through the lens of a game, which it is, you can choose to see it that way. I choose to see it that way. And your point of attention, your awareness is the way that you're playing the game. And we all, for the most part, we started off playing the game through third dimensional perspective and perception, which is, I'm this body, I'm Sean, and my identity is what I do for work, my material possessions that I have, the things that I like, my five senses are telling me what's true, my circumstances around me are dictating my reality, everything's kind of out here. And the big piece of it is, we're wearing energetically the I'm not okay, what's wrong with me, I don't know how to do this. And we're steeped in that energy field all day, running in the background like an app that's just taking all the energy off of your phone without us realizing it. And the upgrade that's occurring, the game board that's unfolding at a higher level, and Paul Selig calls this the upper room or the higher octave, or Jim Self from Mastering Alchemy talks about, it's the higher octave. uh we're having the opportunity to shift the attention from all of those things into a whole new place, which is actually our natural state. And from that place, it's like you said at the beginning, the tides of the rising consciousness come in, wash away the sandcastles of yesterday so that you can create something brand new from a whole new level of awareness. So I'll stop there, because again, I could go on forever with it, but I think that'll provide a good kind of starting point for us here.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Sean. And I think it gives us a lot to play with. Um,
Yes.
yes. And I wanna, you kind of highlighted already, or started to the 3D versus 5D.
Mhm.
Um, let's play with that a little bit more. Let's look at what that the construct or the reality is of that. And I want to look at it through kind of the lens of maybe feeling like maybe some people are feeling some resistance right now, internally, externally, like what is wrong with me? What's wrong with the world? Everybody's wrong. I'm right. Kind of that whole through that lens. And of course, when we're having this conversation, it's not a judgment. I mean, I honestly, like, I'm describing that, and I'm literally describing myself and where I was, and how I felt, when life really sucked. And, the biggest, enemy was the enemy of myself and my own, just fighting with holding on to the construct of where I was at, and really like not interested in looking at the inner child. And I want to, so that's kind of the first part. And then I also want to go in and talk a little bit more about what it means, the inner child piece, because just in case, these are words that we talk about a lot just in, conversation, but I think that some of they can be kind of abstract ideas that I think would be nice to kind of uncover today.
Yeah, for sure. So just, I guess, to keep it simple, if you look at yourself as a house, there's a lot of rooms in your house, and all the versions of you from the time you were born all the way up until now are living in that house. And there's key points like 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21. It tends to go in 7-year kind of cycles. But the key elements of your consciousness, right? It's your inner child, that period of life, your adolescent, that period of life where you're starting to form a sense of self, and your ego is really taking shape. And then you become an adult, and you have a level of freedom, and you can make your own choices, and you're not dependent on other things. So like all these different versions of you live in the house. And as we became adults, we start to lose sense of the inner child, or we don't give that child within us permission to come out and play, because everything gets so heavy. All the stress of like, paying your bills and all the responsibilities and all the things. And then plus, again, the way that you took in life through mom, dad, coach, teacher, minister, you watched how they did it, and you saw that they did it in a serious way. You could feel the heaviness. Like when we were kids, we knew something was off. You looked out in the world and you're like, what? This doesn't seem right. And we knew, but then to survive and to adapt and fit in, we said, we came into agreement with that version of reality that was outside of us. And so the child gets buried under all of this. And that's why it's so hard for people to find joy and happiness and play and being in a sense of wonder and curiosity, because their ego, their fractured sense of self is so obsessed with control and so afraid of the unknown that it grabs onto things. And it's like, this is what I know. This is what I'm familiar with. And the more we can see that happening by being present and being aware, we can realize, oh, that's not me. And then you start to create space for the child to come back into the now, and you start to prioritize play. Maybe you go climb a tree. Maybe you, like for me, I take improv class, and that's play for 3 hours straight. You jump into a scene. Here's the character, go. And that's the most fun that I have during the week by far. And then I take that into the rest of my day. I'll go into a grocery store, and all of a sudden my interaction with the cashier is like totally fun and in the moment. And it's like, oh, hello, Joseph, if that's even your real name.
I've seen you do that.
Yeah. So it's like, you get to have fun, and it's like creativity. And it's like, wow, I can turn this scene into anything I want instead of this robotic, like, hello, nice. I'm good. How are you? So boring. And we're so sick of it. I don't care who you are. You're sick of that shallowness. And so the inner child is the medicine. And the more we can allow and give permission for that side of us to come back, and do the things that we found joy in as children, um, our orientation of life, our natural essence will start to make its way back into the forefront. And I would argue that, or invite, that is one of the most important things we can do right now, because I promise you, your inner child is literally locked in a cage in the basement, waiting, like crying, waiting
Mhm.
for you, and being like, when's this going to be fun again? When
Yeah.
are we going to, like, I don't like this game. I do not like this at all. And we don't want to admit that because it's painful. It's painful to see
Mhm.
that. So beautiful time to start to wake that up, because we deserve that. Like, life gets to be fun and not so serious.
Yeah, I mean, I take it as it's an honor to be here right now. Yes, it's challenging, and at times I think like, how on earth did I sign up for this earthly mission to be here now? And then at the same point, I'm like, bring it on, right? Because it is exciting. It can be super fun, and I would encourage anybody that's listening. Improv is not going to be everybody's thing. You saying that, I was like, oh, that is, that is not my thing for sure. But I have my own, mine is singing and dancing around in the kitchen or whatever. But it's my time with myself, kind of nurturing that inner child, reminding her that, this stuff, it's cool. Like, all is good. It's fun to be here right now. It wasn't for a time, and then that was when she was locked in a cage in the basement. Um, but it is now. So let's continue on that thread a little bit, on like what does it look like to do this transition. So say somebody wants to say like, hey, that's me. I don't know how to connect to my inner child. I don't know how to move past this place I'm in right now, where life is just really quote unquote hard. It doesn't feel good. So before we take a break, can we just kind of lay the foundation there for what, like, how do you say yes? And then how do you kind of move into that place of what we could define as like more of a 5D experience?
Mm. Yeah, well, just a quick couple bricks to put down before the break. This is where you have to start. You have to start with, um, even getting to a point where you can have the conversation of what 5D is, and the only way to do that is by starting to intentionally live your life, right, and be able to, while things are happening, take a breath, take a step back, and just observe what's going, like, let's say you have triggers throughout your day, certain things get hit, all of a sudden emotions are going on in your body and thoughts are tied to that. All of a sudden you're pulled into this experience, and it's the same thing you've seen over and over and over again. We're getting to a point, and this is part of the shift on the game board, where if you do take that breath and you observe your own mind just doing its craziness, you realize more and more that's not you. And you start to get less tangled up with that. And then you start to actually give yourself a choice to respond. Oh, what do I want to do with this? How do I want to engage this? How do I want to play with this? But if you're not doing that, and you're just conceptually like, how do I start playing again and free my inner child? Like, it's all concept, nothing happens. Like, give me the 5 steps. No, it's one step, and it's take a freaking breath and observe what's going on. We're so disconnected from that right now collectively. And it's there's simplicity here. So we can start with that, because you have to start with that, because
Mhm.
there's, if you're not even allowing yourself to have the true conversation, then it's just the same thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sean. So let's take that break, and we'll come back to that conversation that we just started, where you laid a couple bricks. I love that. And before we transition here, is there anything you want to share? Maybe how people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, I would say best way is just through I guess Instagram's kind of like the new digital resume thing, and that's like probably the easiest way to connect these days and see what's going on. So yeah, I think it's Sean underscore Padraic, Padraic. It's an Irish way to spell Patrick.
Yes.
So yeah, I'd say that's the best way.
Fantastic. Thank you. And we will be right back. And we are back here and we are talking about our 3D versus 5D reality, and we're doing it in a playful way. And just as a reminder, I'm here with Sean Padraic, and we're just gonna dive right back in because we only have about an hour, and we could keep it rolling all day. It's like a Monopoly game that never ends. So with that, Sean, so we laid a couple of the bricks of the foundation. What this looks like. You mentioned it's one step. Like it's not a New York Times bestselling book. You don't need to read it and like have that external validation of from somebody else. There's one step. So I think that's a really important piece here
Yeah.
before we lay another brick. Can you just kind of bring us back there one more time?
Yeah, so this is to play this new game and exit the old game, which sucks, and it's not fun. We all know
Yes.
that. The 3D game is just not that fun anymore. It worked for a
Mhm.
while, like we needed to have that, but um this new game is available, and it all starts with choice.
Mhm.
And it's not a choice from fear. It's not a choice from the old you that was stuck in an identity that was never you. It's a choice of here in the moment where everything is created. Like if you think about it, your now screen that's happening through your eyes, like the reality that you're witnessing, what you choose to put your attention on in this moment is where your life force goes, and that's what you're going to get more of. That's what life is
Mhm.
going to mirror back. It will only ever be right here. It took me a while to get that. Like I don't know why, but it was hard for me to understand because I was doing it from the mind. I was trying
Mhm.
to I was trying to comprehend it from my brain instead of feeling it in my body, knowing it in my heart. Like, oh, what would I like to choose right here in this thing that's happening? How would I choose to see this from a place of empowerment or a place of I like me? Because how many of us are choosing from I don't like me? And you punish yourself and you hold guilt and shame. And so this is kind of, I'll just say this real quick, like part of the 3D game construct is death in time. And when I say death, it just means your attention has primarily been on things that create stress, things that make you afraid, things that lower your vibration,
Mhm.
thoughts of guilt, shame for all sorts of different things. And when your attention is there, what happens in your body? Cortisol, stress chemicals, hormones, they're flushing through your system. So you're literally bathing your beautiful cells, your divine, intelligent, miraculous cells in shit soup, which is
Yes.
I'm not okay, I'm afraid, shame, all the things.
Mhm.
And then you make choices from that place, and then so you'll punish yourself, you'll self-sabotage, you'll do all that type of thing. And that's the sandcastle that's being washed away, and the new choice gets to be, if I love me and I like me, what do I choose that feels good, that expands me, that empowers me, that is a story that I actually want to write instead of my past writing it for me. So that's a big pillar of what we're talking about.
Absolutely. And I love that because again, it's like having the visuals. And again, this is like we're inviting in that playfulness. So we have the visuals of the sandcastle, and I'm imagining, the wave coming in, and it's an opportunity to wash it away. Or you can just say, hey, no, thank you. I'm going to keep things as is. And then you're fighting that natural flow, that the water coming in and then the water going out. It's that natural flow, of life. And it kind of brings into what you're saying just about the energy of, we're going to follow that energy. So if we're following the status quo, if we're following this like idea of living in this fear-based experience, this heavy, dense 3D experience, that's what it's going to feel like. Or an opportunity for something different, something lighter, more fun, that feels like love. And it's interesting because I do remember, when I would run into people years ago that I could tell that they were definitely in that place. And it was almost like when you're in the shit soup, you have such a resistance to people having love and that are living in that place. And so, it can feel triggering. And so saying that and like, let's just leave that there because I don't want to keep playing in that 3D, that 3D game anymore. So let's talk about what it looks like to disrupt the status quo and what those new opportunities could look like when we choose to live in this place of love and compassion, and for ourselves and for others, whether it's human, it's literally everything in existence.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the energies that are just beaming down from the sun right now and coming in from the galaxy as part of the whole Aquarian shift are very disruptive. Like,
Mhm.
and it's interacting with our DNA, and it's literally pushing out the denseness that we've been carrying for so long. Like, this is a prophesied time. Like, we're living in a very exciting time, but it's also the in between. And so all the stuff we weren't dealing with and willing to look at is coming up.
Mhm.
And the invitation here is to because the brain, right? The brain loves to focus on problems. It's a problem solving mechanism. But again, you're not the brain, but it always wants to find problems. And so um if you look at your life and you have these problems going on that maybe you've had for a while, can you even entertain the idea of laughing at them? When you laugh at a problem, it signals to your brain it's not a problem anymore, because the laughter wouldn't be there if it was such a devastating problem or big issue. And so it takes the gravity out of it. It's kind of the same thing of breath, right? It's like when
Mhm.
you start getting anxious and stressed out and nothing's happening, you're just in a room by yourself thinking about stuff. What happens? You start taking short breaths, your heart starts racing. And if you notice that happening, you take some deep breaths. You literally tell the physiology of your body that you're safe, because you
Mhm.
wouldn't be taking deep breaths if you were getting chased by a rabid dog or a deadly tiger.
Mhm.
Um, and so like we're learning to do these simple biological, I don't even want to call them hacks, they're tools of like, oh, I can laugh at my problems and that takes the gravity away from it. And when I can play with and change the story around the thing that I gave so much weight to, it really is like, I think everyone probably has seen Wizard of Oz, right? I love
Mhm.
the Wizard of Oz. As a kid, I loved it and I didn't know why. And now as an adult, I'm like a psychoanalyst. I'm like, oh, look at the depth here. Holy shit. And I'm like, there's so much symbolism. Like, this is crazy.
Yes.
Where it's these things that we've made so big, these problems and issues that have seemed like giants in our story that we can't overcome, the obstacles, whatever that is. When you finally go behind the curtain and see what it is, it's the scared old man, like the powerful Wizard of Oz is really this like old man that has dementia that's been running the show the whole time, and he's like, don't hurt me. And that's your ego. That's like the wounded ego. And it starts to get more fun when you see it that way. It's like, oh, this thing I gave power. It's like David and Goliath, that story. Like everyone
Mm,
was terrified of Goliath. They're like, this guy's a freaking giant. Like I'm not fighting him. And then David's like this little shepherd boy who's like, oh yeah, I got my slingshot. This guy's done. Like it's not even a question. I'm gonna smoke this guy.
yes.
And that's us. Like that's David consciousness, where the Goliaths are like we look at them and we're like, huh, and all of a sudden we're bigger than all of those things. And that's you can play with that. You can try that on like
Mm-hmm.
a cloak. You can experiment with that. Allow yourself to start to experiment and tell yourself some new stories, because your whole life is just stories anyways, and they were coming from a wounded childhood instead of what you want to tell the story as now, in this moment, pure creation. Stop writing the script of a shitty movie you would never go to watch. And this is available. It's literally right here, right now. If you're watching, it's here. It is. And people, and if your mind start, whoa, hold on a second. Like I've been doing it this way for a long time. Hold on. Listen to that. Just observe that, like the limitation that you're holding on to in that moment. I know it's hard to see at times, but like take a breath, take a step back. Oh, look at my mind. It's like not giving me permission
Mm-hmm.
to access truth right now. It wants to hold on to the bullshit. Okay, cool. Compassion for that. New choice, breath, observe. Yeah.
Yeah, and what would it feel like to just allow for that playfulness to come in? Because it was, when you're describing that, that part of us that has such rigidity in this life experience and holding on to that so hard, almost like it's a matter of life or death, right? I mean, it's without this persona or this version of me, I don't exist, or I'm not comfortable looking at that version of me in that way. And two, I mean, I love, again, it's funny when we allow for that playfulness to come in, because again, as you're describing, The Wizard of Oz, I haven't seen that movie in so long, but I know exactly, I mean, I can see the little dude, behind the screen. And too, for my own journey, it's like, if only I had a heart. It's coming in. That was a big thing for me. And so it's like for each of us, it's like, what is it about ourselves, those archetypes that we hold on to, that hold us back from being this beautiful expression of who we are. And so maybe, like mentioning David and Goliath too, it's like you have access to these, we all have access to these archetypes that we can bring in. I think it might have been on one of my first shows, and I haven't really talked about this at all. It's, going through, as my health journey, having a tumor, and then having to have surgery earlier this year. And I had to face fear like I'd never had before. And I got to choose how I wanted to experience that, knowing that I may or may not continue to live in this moment. But I wasn't afraid, because I called in Joan of Arc, and
Mm.
my angels, and all of these, whether it's the archetypes, or all of our support from the unseen world, bringing that in those moments where I felt like I didn't have the ability to continue moving on. And so I only bring that up because it's like allowing yourself to bring in David and be like, yeah, I'm gonna take out Goliath. And
Yes.
whoever Goliath is, or whatever Goliath is, whether it's, a part of you that's saying like, I can't do it. I can't do what Sean says. I can't have fun. I can't play. Like, these are all things that we're limitations we put on ourselves.
Mm.
And so I say, let's allow for, let's just face it. Like, no more. We're not interested,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And just real quick visual for the Wizard of Oz. What happens, right? When they see the Wizard of Oz for the truth of what it is, what happens? They're gifted a new heart. They're gifted a new brain.
Exactly.
Um, what's the other one? The Scarecrow, the Tin Man. Wait, what is the Tin
It's,
Man get? The Tin Man gets the heart. Wait.
is it, I don't remember. Yeah,
Oh,
it's the
there's one
brain
I'm
heart.
missing.
There's one.
There's one
Oh,
other
I
one.
don't
There's
remember.
the Scarecrow. Ah, all
There's
right.
probably many people are like, how do you not remember the third?
Regardless, it's you get a renewed heart and a renewed mind,
Yes.
and then that starts to take form, and then you start to see everything else through that lens more and more and more,
Mhm.
and that's the renewal of the mind, body, spirit, and that movie just like beautifully depicts that. And another movie, Star Wars, it's like the Jedi masters, they confront all fear. They
Yeah.
confront all fear. They look right at it, as you did with your tumor, and
Mhm.
they recognize like that fear has nothing on me. And when that fear's out of the way, like that's where the play can actually come in, because
Yes.
a scared child does not want to play. Like,
Oh, okay. Moxie's just sharing. The Tin Man has no heart, the Scarecrow
courage.
has no brain,
Yes.
and Lion has no courage. Thank you, Moxie.
Yes. Okay, courage. That was the thing. And you need the courage to confront Wizard of Oz,
Yes.
to get you to even
Yes.
step up to the plate and get to that point where you can renew the mind and the heart. Get those as a gift. Yeah.
Yes. That's so, so beautiful. Yes. So it's exciting. I think that's the word, just allowing for this. And two, knowing like, I would say, and I want to make this clear, like, this is not a, necessarily a journey on our own. It's a remembering too, that we are all in this together.
Yeah.
So when you say like the one thing, it's like building that aware, like you have to, there's a choice we make. And then it's super important to remember that, like, I know for myself, there's a community, like I have a tribe of people that are like, I would die for them, because without these individuals, and they know who they are, I it wouldn't be, life would not be what it is. And I say that, like, again, not out of fear, it's out of like showing like how much compassion and how much unconditional love I have, and how beautiful it is to allow those kind of relationships into this present time.
Mhm.
And it feels badass, right? To just have that. I
Yeah.
mean,
It does. Yeah. That, but that brings up for me is like, I think a lot of people are in this place of, um, they're starting to realize like, all right, there, I got to do some spring cleaning. There's a lot of
yes,
relationships I'm holding on to that are not serving me at all, that are keeping me anchored to old versions of myself that deplete my energy. And
mhm,
that's going to make it really challenging to step onto this new game board if we're holding on to environments and relationships that are keeping us locked into. Because here's the thing, not everyone's going to want to play on this new game, and that's
no,
fine. Everyone's
yeah,
got their own path and journey, but if you're wanting to explore and be on this new game board of 5D, you have to definitely begin the process of letting go of the things that are keeping you anchored in the old game board, and that is jobs, people, circumstances. And that's not easy, but or and um to your point, there's lots of other people that are doing this too, and you'll start to align with them, and that will start to become normal. And these people, by the way, you know them for like 2 seconds and they just feel home.
yes,
They feel like you've known them for a long time. It's because they're at the same frequency. And that's
mhm,
what you create space for by saying no to this, stepping into this. You get the relationships where people see you as you are, and you get to be yourself. It feels easy. There's no drama. There's no like sludge like there was back here. And I think that's a big point.
oh, yes, it is. I mean, it is, it's being ourselves, and allowing for our people, the people that really you can be super vulnerable with, right? I mean, it's because the thing is like, even when we're in this place where life feels good and, full of love and compassion and everything's great, there's still moments, I mean, it's life, right? I mean, this is part of the earth experience and the human experience. And so, it's having those people in your life, that you can openly express yourself as yourself instead of the constructs, like thinking again of what we started with today was, the version of us that we create, that we think we are supposed to be based on, what our conditioning is. So we'll put a pin in it there, as we take our last break, and we'll kind of wrap it up. And yes, stay tuned. We'll see you soon.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back here to the Alchemy of Me. And again, I'm here with Sean. My name is Tonia, and we are going to wrap it up. Hello. We are going to wrap our discussion up today and end a little early so that Sean can guide us through some breath work at the very end today. So let's just, as we take these last few minutes, Sean, let's just kind of explore on this 5D game board, like the possibilities, what life looks like, what life can look like from this space where we are just in harmony with ourselves, where we're embodying, all the pieces of us, the pieces that maybe we see sometimes as the not good enough, or not enough like something that we have seen, that we don't honor, right? And just embodying that and owning that. And yeah, let's start there.
Yeah, so I guess the way that I like to see this is this process of transitioning game boards. It's like you're taking the wounded child / adolescent that's had all of these fractures and all these traumas and different things. They've been driving the car trying to navigate life. What a crazy thing, by the way, to let that navigate your car in your experience. But that's what we've all been doing unconsciously. And so this is beginning to lovingly pick that part of you up, place it over in the passenger seat, and okay, you over there. And at first you're going to be like, no, but if I'm not driving, who's driving? And then you start to show them who's the real you that's driving. And so that would look like, when that part of you that's self-judgmental or afraid, or goes into the I'm not good enough, or I'm not okay. The real you, the soul, comes in and is like, hey, I'm here. You're okay. You've always been enough. I love you. And you're not alone anymore. Like, I got this. You're safe. You can sit in the passenger seat and chill and like learn to be safe there. And that's where the tension will start to go away, and you'll just naturally start to play again. You'll naturally start to feel a sense of ease, and life starts to become a dance partner. You're not fighting against life anymore. It's not this thing that you're grinding through and forcing and trying to survive. That's all 3D game board material. No, it's so dense. And
it's heavy.
It just like we got so caught in that illusion. And that was part of the game. Like that was supposed to happen. But now we're in this opportunity where we get to leave that behind. And it can be a process, but to the degree that you prioritize this and you put your attention on the beauty, you put your attention on the things that make you feel good, you put your attention on what you love about yourself, you put your attention on what you would like to create, what would be fun, what would be exciting, what would be meaningful and give you a sense of purpose, and being in contribution, being in service to humanity. What would that look like for you? That could just be simply, today I'm going to go out and I'm going to smile at everybody that I see. I'm going to offer a compliment to 5 people today. I'm going to volunteer somewhere, or I'm going to strike up a conversation with someone that I don't know and just and say hello to them. Whatever it is, like these little new choices and beginning to play with and experiment with
Mhm.
doing things differently, engaging with your day differently, engaging with yourself differently. And this is what it means to be in 5D. You're in the moment. You're not up in your head thinking about the future, ruminating on the past. You're just right here. You take a breath, you take a step back. Okay, here I am. Where do I want to bring my attention from this point? Or maybe you just stay in the presence and you just stay in the unfolding and you're like, "Ooh, what's life bringing me today? What blessings do I get to open up and receive today? I am receiving all that life has for me that lights me up and is in alignment with who I really am." Like these become the new sort of conversations and internal questions and mantras that you start to naturally um, bring to the surface instead of the old record playing. It's like
Mm.
the symphony that was playing the fear song the whole time is now they're getting off the stage. This is okay. Last thing, the eclipse, right? First one in
Yes.
7 years, total blackness, blocked out the light of the sun, then moved away again. And this woman said this last night at our cacao ceremony, and it just like really landed for me. That's why I want to share it. It was like the curtain came over the stage, which was the blackness going in front of the sun. And then it moved again and the sun was back. So it was like the curtain opened to a brand new play.
Mm.
A brand new chapter is unfolding. A new cycle began with that eclipse. So this is an opportunity. If you're listening, you literally get to, the energy is so in support of this too.
Mhm.
Create your life from the script you want, like, and know that it can happen that way. It is happening that way. And just start to let go of the resistance of the addiction to the old stuff. It was never you. It was a separate, false, fractured self. And there's grief in that. It's sad. It's like hard sometimes to let that go, but like give yourself grace and compassion and align with other people who are doing this too and recognize like this is your time. You came here to enjoy yourself. You came here to explore and have fun and play and be curious. All that stuff is not you. And just however you can bring your awareness to that every single day is really really pivotal.
Yes, Sean, beautiful. Yes to all of it. Yes, yes, yes. And I think like the two takeaways from the whole invitation to transition to 5D, it's the playfulness, allowing that inner child to come out. And two, it's um, allowing it to be your authentic self in the sense of, again, coming back to like the improv piece where it's like, that's what lights you up. That's what allows your inner child to play. But knowing that each of us has this, you know, beautiful, unique experience that we've had, and that we're all going to have different things that light up our inner child. And so, really allowing for some playfulness and just that discovery of what that is. Maybe you don't even remember what it feels like, or maybe you don't, your childhood was so challenging that you don't know. And so,
Mm.
opportunity to just play, to
Yeah.
enjoy. So
Yes.
thank you, Sean. So we have a few minutes left. If you would be open to just guiding us, you know, maybe it's an opportunity just to allow people to just pause and see what comes up.
Totally. Yeah. Thanks for allowing the space for that. So if you're listening, now or at some point in the future, yeah, just inviting you to take a breath and just close the eyes down for a moment. Bring your attention internally and just start to really become aware of the oxygen coming through your nostrils, going down the back of your throat, feeling your chest inflate and expand. And then when you exhale, feel the air coming through your mouth, touching your lips, and your chest deflating. And just notice these things all at the same time. The air through the nostrils, back of the throat, chest inflating. And then start to notice, bring awareness to the air going through the nose, down the throat, and down into the heart. Start to send that air to your heart, your center, swirling that oxygen around the heart, activating your feeling. And connect to, in this place, the smile of your heart. No story, no thinking, just connect to the smile of your heart. You know how to do that. And maybe the corners of your mouth rise a little bit and you form a smile on your own face while the smile of your heart is happening at the same time. And just notice how that feels. And maybe as the heart is pumping, maybe it's sending that smile through the bloodstream and bathing all of your cells, all of your organs, tissues, fascia, joints, bones. Everything's just being immersed in that heart smile. You are gifting yourself that energy throughout your entire body. Maybe you bring it up to your eyes and feel that heart smile in your eyes so that the rest of your day, you're looking through the lens of love. You're looking through the lens of that heart smile where it's appreciation, where it's seeing the beauty in things that you once didn't see it in, noticing all of the beauty around you in nature, in architecture, in other people. And notice how easy that is just through intention to bring that lens into your perception. Taking another breath and just letting it go. Being here and now. No future, no past, as if you just got dropped off here from a UFO. Just pure awareness. Noticing how that feels to give yourself that. And taking one last breath in. You can breathe the eyes open and begin seeing through that heart smile lens and take this into the rest of your day.
Thank you, Sean. That was beautiful. And I appreciate you and your time today and everyone else that showed up wherever they're at. And so with that, we will see you all next time. Thank you.
Big love, everybody.
Thank you for listening to The Alchemy of Me, where we navigate the anatomy of humanity through the lens of science and spirituality. For more mind-body energy medicine concepts, tools, and practices to nourish the seeds, the light, the fire, that gold of intelligence that is you, tune in every first and third Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on transformationtalkradio.com. For more information about me and my work, please visit toniajohnson.com. That's toniajohnson.com.